Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at InnoScale.net. In the news, a former Mississippi cop has learned her fate after she pleaded guilty to leaving her 3-year-old daughter strapped in her hot patrol car until she died, as the cop had sex with her supervisor inside his home. Former Long Beach police officer Cassie Barker will spend the next 20 years behind bars for the death of her 3-year-old daughter. The Free Thought Project reports that her sentence was handed down Monday, with the judge telling Barker that she failed in her responsibility to protect and serve as a mother and as a police officer. On September 30th, 2016, Barker strapped her 3-year-old daughter into a car seat in the back of her patrol car and entered her supervisor's home for a midday romp. Barker knew the air conditioner did not work, but nevertheless turned on the vent and went inside. As her daughter sat strapped in her deathbed, Barker had sex with Officer Clark Ladner inside the home. After the deed had been done, Barker and Ladner then fell asleep. Authorities said little Cheyenne Barker's body temperature reached 107 degrees before she died. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Bray Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Bray Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybraybotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, online at snls.news and libertybeat.news. I'm Mick Murrow. Your news now continues. Lawyers for an American journalist who believes he was placed on the government's infamous kill list warned Tuesday that the rights of all U.S. citizens are at stake if the country's drone assassination program is allowed to continue. Activist Post reports the organization's comments came as part of a response to the U.S. government's attempt to dismiss a lawsuit regarding its use of the list. Reprieve is representing Bilal Abdul Karim, a journalist and U.S. citizen, who claims he was repeatedly targeted and nearly killed on 5 separate occasions by drone and missile attacks in 2016, when he was reporting on the ongoing conflict in Syria. Karim joined an Al Jazeera journalist in 2017 in a lawsuit against the government, demanding that the Trump administration remove their names from the kill list of potential targets for the U.S. drone program. If the government manages to have the lawsuit dismissed, legal experts warn it will allow the Trump administration and future presidents to secretly place any American on a kill list without telling them why, before stripping them of their constitutional rights to due process. Last week, Utah Governor Gary Herbert signed a bill into law that requires police to get a warrant before accessing data stored in the cloud. The new law will not only increase privacy protections in Utah, it will also hinder the federal surveillance state. Activist Post reports that Representative Craig Hall, a Republican from West Valley City, sponsored the House bill. The new law prohibits law enforcement agencies from accessing electronic information or data transmitted to a remote computing service without a warrant based on probable cause in most situations. In effect, it will prohibit police from warrantlessly accessing information uploaded into the cloud. The House passed the bill by a 71-0 vote. The Senate approved the measure 23-0. With Herbert's signature, the new law will go into effect May 14th. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting with the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Report from the Department of Health and Human Services urges Americans to do something, anything at all. According to the study, getting off your ass and doing any sort of physical or mental activity could have positive health effects.
Look, we're not expecting you to go to the gym. That's clearly not happening. Just walk outside for a few blocks and then come back home. You can bring potato chips if that's what it'll take.
For many years, the health department has encouraged Americans to watch less TV, but this report reverses that, saying, quote, watch whatever the hell you want, but at least pay attention and remember who the characters are, or just admire the colors. Colors are pretty. It's expected that following the advice in this report will cut down on the largest cause of death among Americans, laying on your back until your mouth fills up with saliva and you drown. Following the report's release, the most popular exercise now seems to be masturbating, but researchers warn that if you do it in public, stick to the sidewalk or you might get hit by cars.
This is the Onion News Network.
All right, welcome to the Call to Freedom. It is April the 4th, 2019. I'm your host, as always, Arya DeMezzo of the anarchistshemale.com, and I'm joined in the studio today by
Michael Hampton from BitcoinHistory.com.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Who am I again? Michael Hampton, BitcoinHistory.com. Right.
And as always, actually, it's a relatively light news day.
It's been a slow news day. I had a lot of trouble finding anything to even possibly bring in.
Yeah, the only thing I found that I really found interesting was the Church of Latter-day Saints, who, I believe those were the Mormons, correct?
That is the Mormons.
The ones with the special underwear that protects them from demons or whatever. It's amazing the kind of things that people will believe to be true. They have changed their position on gay people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, somewhat. It's not a very big change. They viewed it as apostasy following a purported revelation from God in 2016.
Now, apostasy, exactly what does that mean?
In the religious sense, I'm not sure what the technical definition would be. It's like when you're outside of the rules of an organization, I thought. According to Google, that's a completely unhelpful definition, the abandonment or renunciation of a religious or political belief. That is apostasy.
Okay, so they're calling these people apostates in saying that they are not part of LDS.
Yeah, it's saying that being gay is a renunciation of the Church of Latter-day Saints.
As if they had a choice in the matter.
Well, they do, really, because the position held by the LDS is that it's not a sin to be attracted to people of the same sex. The sin is acting upon it.
Oh, okay.
And it comes down to that thing that I pointed out before, that yes, homosexuality is a choice because any form of sexual behavior is a choice, unless you're being raped. Sure, right. You can't change who you're attracted to. You can't alter the features that one finds attractive. But one can choose not to act on those.
So they were saying if you had sex with someone of the same gender, then you were an apostate and you were not part of the church.
Correct. But they've changed that position, it would seem, in a stunning announcement Thursday. I'm not sure I would really categorize it as stunning, because
if you're Mormon, it probably is stunning.
Well, not really, because it's a very minor change to their position. It's like they backpedaled from 10 to 9.7 on the scale of where they stand on it. It's the Salt Lake Tribune here is characterizing it as a reversal of its position, of its policy, and that's just not the case.
Okay, so how far did they go back? Not very?
Well, in November 2015, it was 2015, not 16, they deemed same-sex couples to be apostates and generally prevented their children from joining the faith.
So wait, so they kicked their kids out too?
No, they prevented their children from joining.
Or prevented them from
if they had gay parents. It doesn't say they kicked them out. Effective immediately, children of parents who identify themselves as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender may be baptized without first presidency approval. So apparently there were just some additional roadblocks if you had gay parents and you wanted to, for some unholy reason, join the Mormon Church.
You had to get approval.
Yeah, if the custodial parents give permission for the baptism and understand both the doctrine that a baptized child will be taught and the covenants he or she will be expected to make. So it's rather like, as long as you know that your kids are going to be taught a bunch of anti-LGBT BS, then it's okay if they join the church, really.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
In addition, same-sex Latter-day Saint parents no longer will be seen as apostates.
Okay, that's a little farther more reverse.
I would rather see them do something about the tremendous amounts of adultery that occur within the Mormon church, or that occur within members of the Mormon church. I don't know what the average person's experience is, but I have lived in Las Vegas, where there is a higher than normal Mormon population, because it's right there in that same general vicinity as Utah. And I did not know a single Mormon who was not an attorney and who was not cheating on his wife with one of his employees. 100% adultery rate.
Well, adultery is not that big an issue for a church. I mean, it's not like it's one of the 10 Commandments or anything.
Well, they choose to focus on, and that's one of the things I liked about Will's Islamic position, is that, you know, to him, sure, same-sex marriage is a sin, but so is sex outside of marriage, and so is all of these other things. And to him, none of them were any worse than any of the others.
Right. Where are your priorities?
But to the LDS, they would much rather focus on homosexuality and clearly just ignore the rampant adultery that occurs right there within their own ranks.
Well, everyone's doing it, so... You know.
That they seem, in my experience, to know about. Previously, our handbook characterized same-gender marriage by a member as apostasy, Oakes told the assembled male area presidents and top female officials. While we consider such a marriage to be a serious transgression, they must have missed the part of the Bible where God described all sins as being equal. But, you know, they missed quite a bit of the Bible. It will not be treated as apostasy for purposes of church discipline. Instead, the immoral conduct in heterosexual or homosexual relationships will be treated in the same way.
So they're just going to ignore it like they do all the adultery?
I'm fine with that, if that's how they want to play it. I just don't think that they should be targeting one particular sex act that they find distasteful, while they ignore all of these others that, according to their own religious creed, they should similarly find distasteful and be doing stuff about.
Well, you know, I just remembered that they have their own book, the Book of Mormon, and I have never read it.
I have. It says, and it came to pass like 40 times on every single page. I don't know why, but it does. And so it came to pass, and so it came to pass, and so it came to pass. It's... The whole story of Mormonism is one that I find tremendously fascinating. My knowledge of it comes almost entirely from South Park. But to be fair, South Park did accurately convey what Mormons actually believe. They did not go into the special underwear. I found that via a YouTube video when I was living in Las Vegas. And
wait, I thought South Park did an episode about the special underwear.
Not to my knowledge. I mean, they did the Book of Mormon, and they may have included it within that, but that was a Broadway production.
Okay.
In the show that I'm aware of, they didn't mention the special underwear.
I will find out.
A non-member parents or parents, including LGBT parents, can request that their baby be blessed by a worthy Melchizedek priesthood holder. These parents need to understand that congregation members will contact them periodically, and that when the child who has been blessed reaches 8 years of age, a church member will contact them and propose that the child be baptized. Why wouldn't the child propose that? I mean, that's generally how one would expect it to work.
Yeah, this is not. If you're a child of a gay couple, lesbian couple, and you're living in Utah or whatever, it doesn't seem like that's something you're going to be all that interested in unless you're like in your rebellious teen phase.
You're not going to be interested in what?
The LDS church.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are religious, and I mean, especially in that environment in Utah where there are so many Mormons, it seems likely that a child would, you know, want to know what they're missing out on and would become involved with the church, because it does become, especially in these ultra-religious rural areas, it becomes more of a social thing than a religious thing. And in order to be accepted within that social group, they have to follow the religious doctrine to at least to the same extent that other people follow it. But these new, very positive policies should help affected families, Oaks told attendees. And church members' efforts to show more understanding, compassion, and love should increase respect and understanding among all people of goodwill. The church wants to reduce the hate and contention so common today. I would like to do that as well, but I don't think that this is really going to matter in the long run, because I really doubt that there are a lot of LGBT parents who are itching to become involved in the Mormon Church, or who give a crap what the Mormon Church has to say about them. This is the Call to Freedom.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level, and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
All right, welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom, and as always, you're invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or if you prefer clearer quality, you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. Now, even though the Salt Lake Tribune is characterizing this as some sort of reversal of past positions that is just going to make all sorts of positive changes in the world, a lot of people are being a bit more reserved about it, but not, it seems, a certain gay student at Brigham Young University who says, "My phone has been buzzing nonstop and I'm getting messages and calls from my gay friends, active and excommunicated, sobbing. I've been jumping up and down for joy on BYU's campus. Everything feels lighter today. The sense of revelation, the sense of hope for LGBTQ Latter-day Saints is in the air. There hasn't been a lot of concrete reason for that hope before today. Now things seem so much closer. It's like that glow before the dawn of a new day." And I don't want to crap on his parade, but I hope he realizes here that he's still not welcome within the church.
They only loosened the chain one little notch.
Yeah, only barely. These steps may be small, Burke said, but are important and deeply symbolic. And they don't even apply to him. It would seem they apply to his children.
Well, he's no longer an apostate, right?
He's no longer an apostate, but he doesn't seem to be welcome within the membership of the church. I mean, he's going to continue being excommunicated.
Oh, well.
The announcement hints that the church is inviting conversation and seeking further light and knowledge. It seems to represent the beginning of a new relationship between the church and the LGBTQ community. I remember being that young and idealistic once, and just that full of hope.
The cynicism comes later when reality smacks you upside the head.
Yeah, that's all I can see in his "this is a brand new day" kind of conversation. I mean, it's just hopeless hope.
Hope springs eternal. I mean,
when the 2015 policy came to light, Richard Osler was a lay bishop to a Latter-day Saint congregation of single adults in Magna, some of whom were gay. It led to a mini-faith crisis, Osler wrote in an email. "I was never able to gain a testimony of the policy, even though I continued to sustain our church leaders and do everything I could to bring people to Christ, or to our weird little fan fiction about Christ. Allowing children of LGBTQ parents to be baptized with simply the parents' consent puts the responsibility on the parents to make decisions for their children, which again I find odd because I would rather those children make such decisions for themselves, but whatever. So one of these excommunicated believers who happens to be gay can still enforce that doctrine onto their kids, and being gay won't prohibit their kids from being in the church, as long as the kids are straight.
Or celibate.
Yeah, and then they'll be kicked out anyway if they turn out to be gay or to act on those gay impulses. So I'm really not seeing what sort of positive change this is even supposed to be, even in theory. Okay, great. So you, being brainwashed by this religion since you were born, can now allow your children to be brainwashed and to take part in the same indoctrination and BS that you went through. And that later, once you came out of the closet, turned their back on you and treated you like scum. But it's positive now because now they're going to let you put your kids in there so they can do the same freaking thing to them. I don't understand what is supposed to be positive about this.
Yeah, this doesn't sound like a good deal to me. I mean, I guess it's, like I said, it's loosen the chains a notch, but if the chains have been tight for long enough, then that definitely may feel.
I don't even see it as loosening the chains anymore. All I see it as is the church saying, okay, well, we're losing these children. We're not getting the opportunity to properly indoctrinate them and brainwash them. So we need to allow LGBTQ parents to still bring their children into the church, and maybe that way we can change the LGBTQ behavior within our ranks. We can brainwash them early enough.
Now, that really is cynicism.
While ultimately continually turning our backs on the parents and not letting them be members of the church, because they are still living in sin, taking part in these serious transgressions and not being repentant about it. So they're clearly not welcome within the church, just like you don't allow all sorts of people who engage in habitually sinful behavior within any specific church.
What, like adulterers?
Yeah, I mean, well, if they get busted, yeah. I mean, if they get busted publicly, yeah, you gotta excommunicate them. Even Southern Baptist churches excommunicate because of things like that. And that's all this is. It's them wanting the opportunity to brainwash children. And they couldn't do that when they branded LGBTQ couples who had children as apostates, because that apparently branded their children as unwelcome as well. But now they're totally going to take in the children. So, hey, congratulations, gay dude at Brigham Young. You can let your future kids be brainwashed just like you were. And then they can be sad when they grow up and become gay and the church turns its back on them. Absolutely ridiculous. I believe this is the right message to members of the church to not single out those in same-sex marriages. Tim Christofferson, gay brother of LDS Apostle D. Todd Christopher, good God, what is with these names, praised the move for taking away some of the heartache for gay parents and dropping the apostasy nomenclature. Effectively, we're in the same place we were in before the November 2015 policy, said Christofferson, author of That We May Be One, A Gay Mormon's Perspective on Faith and Family. My great hope and prayer is that congregations of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, that name is way too freaking long, holy crap, will use this as an encouragement to do more to love and welcome their LGBTQ brothers and sisters into the midst, to create a place of acceptance and appreciation for the gifts they bring.
Let's just say LDS because we know what that is.
But they're still not addressing the elephant in the room, which is how they're going to deal with the LGBTQ parents. They've made a great big deal about the fact that, okay, well, we'll totally let the kids in now. All you have to do is want to have your kids in here, and we'll let them come. But what about the parents? All you've done is no longer branded them as apostates. You're still branding them as sinners. You're still calling them evil. You're still calling them transgressive just because of their personal preferences. I don't see it as an improvement. And I've certainly not seen anything within this article that suggests the Mormon Church is actually going to allow these members, these people excommunicated for being gay, to come back into their ranks.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like that so far.
The perspective of this gay kid at Brigham Young seems to be, well, this is the first step in that direction, and it may be. But see, their plan is to let your children in first so they can brainwash your children and turn your children against you like churches have always done. So I don't know why you expect this to end well. I don't think it's going to.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know any of this.
No, he doesn't. He should listen to our show because I have been through so many similar things.
They don't teach this stuff at Brigham Young.
No, they don't. They do have an excellent physics department, though. So many of us who are LGBTQ advocates and work for suicide prevention, that's a weird statement, have hoped and planned for this since the policy was leaked, said Jody England Hansen, a member of the Mama Dragon support group for parents and family of LGBTQ members. We're thrilled. We were crying and hugging each other, remembering all of the LGBTQ people who were excommunicated and committed suicide because of the 2015 policy. This is the Call to Freedom, and we're going to get back into this disgusting nonsense, so don't go anywhere.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Hey, I'm LRN.FM Program Director Ian Freeman. If you're listening to our free-to-air satellite feed in North or Central America, heads up! We've been on the Galaxy 19 satellite since 2010, but now our satellite provider is moving LRN.FM to a new channel on a different transponder. The current channel will stay on the air until the end of May to give you time to transition without any loss of service, so don't delay. I've posted the new channel details at sat.lrn.fm, but in case you're listening with no internet access, if you do a blind scan on your receiver, you should see the new channel at transponder 6, 11.8425 GHz, horizontal polarization, symbol rate 22,000, FEC 3/4. All that information is at sat.lrn.fm, as well as a link to our Patreon, where you can support our channels for just $2 a month. Visit sat.lrn.fm for more information about our international satellite channels, and thanks for listening to LRN.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.fm.
All right, welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom, and we would like you to know about the Rational Review News Digest, which is currently carrying Call to Freedom's podcasts. You can find them at rationalreview.com. It's the Freedom Movement's daily news digest, aggregating stories from all over the internet that are of interest to libertarians and liberty-minded people. They include podcasts, videos, blogs, and news articles, so be sure to check them out at rationalreview.com to stay up to date on all of the happenings in the wider world. And speaking of the wider world, Utah, the Latter-day Saints in Utah have decided that they don't want to miss out on the opportunity to brainwash and indoctrinate kids just because their parents are homos. And a lot of LGBTQ people affected by this, or who presume themselves to be affected by this, seem to have totally lost perspective on what exactly is being communicated by the Church of Latter-day Saints, which is basically just them saying, oh, we still want your kids, we just don't want you. But we're going to go now to Richard, who is calling us from San Francisco, who wanted to weigh in on the Mormon Church. Richard, what are your thoughts about it?
Well, hello, everybody. This is Richard the Fruit Simmons. I wanted to say that Deal a Meal is working, and so is anal plugging and buttsugging.com. Hello to everybody. I wanted to say that it's wonderful that the Mormons are allowing the LGBT rainbow dwellers into their circles now. What problem could you have with this, Aria?
Well, they're not allowing. the LGBTQ people into their circles now. The article, perhaps wrongly, focuses almost entirely on the fact that the children of LGBTQ parents are being allowed back into the church, or will no longer be prohibited from joining the church. But it doesn't make any sort of statement that LGBTQ people are going to be excommunicated.
So what if the children are queers?
It seems like they will be unwelcome once they come out of the closet or begin acting on those impulses.
Yeah, if you're in the closet,
what was the point of this stupid article then, Aria? If this show gotten so bad that this is what you're talking about, I'm talking about anal stretches and calisthenics. If this is all you have?
Obviously, it's a slow news day.
It is a slow news day. We mentioned that much earlier in the show. There's very little going on that's not related to Mueller and Trump or Joe Biden. And those are two topics that I have zero interest in, because there are countless news shows out there talking about the FBI probe into Trump and the Russian hysteria and all of that. It's just not something we're interested in. You ask a good question, though. What is the point of this article? We haven't even gotten to that, to the reason it got my attention. The reason that I brought it in was because the bishop or pope or whatever the hell they call themselves over there in this weird little special underwear wearing place was that God had told them in 2015 that being gay was apostasy. And apparently, through further communion with the creator of our universe in their eyes, he has changed his mind. Or maybe there was some static on the line when he was talking the first time. Or maybe it was like one of those little childhood games where you whisper from one person to the next and then see how it is. Maybe it was communicated through a bunch of mouth-breathing idiots who were themselves homophobic and who heard what God said as something that he didn't actually say. Or all of this is in their heads and there was no God speaking to them in the first place. At any rate, he seems to have changed his mind, and his new position is, okay, being gay is still bad, but we want them kids.
Yep.
Well, my goodness gracious, excuse my language. This is just preposterous. I mean, as far as collecting undergarments that are magic, I know all about that, of course, from Juan, my ex-Dominican little cabana boy, who's now suing me for $14 million for rape and other things. But, of course, I understand all about such collections. But, I mean, the Mormon Church has never been a very accepting place, Aria and Michael. For instance, do you know that it was not until 1978 that they allowed the blacks in?
Really? No, I didn't know
I'm
that.
not surprised. Well,
yes.
Race is kind of endemic to the Mormon faith, is it not? Where they had the position, according to their religious beliefs, that the Jews had come to America first, and those who turned from God, or those who embraced God, either one, I don't know which off the top of my head, ended up becoming the Native Americans.
Well, yes, basically. And, of course, that Brigham Young was not a murderous, lustful butthole. He was a wonderful hero. You know, men can become as gods. It's not a cult at all. It's no more of a cult than the rest of religion, period. But
they're all cults,
to say, though,
in my opinion. Said on a show that used to be called The Muslim Show.
All right, you stop that. If your parents would hear you talking like that, they would smack you in your bitty.
Yeah, they probably would. Actually, no, they wouldn't. My father, at least, he knows I'm an atheist and that I have zero respect for organized religion, especially their particular brand of it, of Southern Baptism. He also knows why.
That's horrible. That's terrible. That's worse than what happened to me Kegel exercising with a medicine ball 3 years ago, Aria. That's horrible.
I don't do Kegel exercises. I thought those were I was about to say they're a woman-only thing.
They do you. They do you, girl. Michael knows what I'm talking about.
Is that what was going? So that's what was going on when they had to call the police to your house for the welfare check.
The police went to...
very funny, Mr. Michael, but it wasn't funny. Remember back in 1946 when you were 6 years old and you were 600 pounds and I helped you lose all that weight with Steal a Meal? You weren't laughing, sir.
No, I was not laughing at all.
Well, laughing at this stupid phone call. So before I get off of here, Aria, I just wanted to put on an old friend of yours really quickly who wanted to say something, and he'll get off. Harry?
Yes, hello, big, mean, hideous drag queen man. Are you going to censor me now?
Who the hell is this?
Perry, I am the one who's the pro-HIV, pro-AIDS activist that LRN is against, who was censored, Missy. Let me tell you something about you. You drag queen hussy. You were getting butt banged in the men's room worse than me, like a Hellenistic hoe in the ancient Greek Parthenon orgy, girl. What do you have to say to that?
I have never been butt banged in a bathroom. Ever in my life.
How about you, Michael?
No,
hello,
never.
Oh, BS. What about that Kmart in Wichita, Kansas in 1994? You gave me the reach around. Anyway, I just can't wait to keep spreading my genital warts as a great representative of the LGBT community, and I want to infect more people and have them infect their wives like those Mormon men. So screw you, because I'm going to spread my AIDS.
Okay, that's certainly not behavior we condone. That's immoral.
Thanks for the call.
I've actually blocked a lot of people on Grindr because not because they were HIV positive or anything like that, but because they did have that mentality of, oh well, I'm going to die, so I'm just trying to infect people, and it's really screwed up. And I mean, especially since HIV diagnosis isn't really lethal anymore.
No, it's not.
I mean,
Why
you're
would
still
you
gonna
do that?
Yeah, you're still going to die, but so is everyone.
Yeah, everyone dies.
It's a wonderfully helpful signal that the church is willing to make a policy correction quickly and publicly, Haglund said, a Boston resident. Many members have the experience of personal revelation, letting them know such corrections are necessary. Oh, so they talked to God too, and God told them that the church was wrong.
Yeah, God told a lot of people, apparently.
It's easy to understand that revelation could work that way for the church itself. Yeah, see, the way this whole thing works is that a person takes their own internal beliefs about these things. They go, I don't think it's right to condemn LGBTQ people. And because they have been so broken by organized religion, they have to attribute this to someone else. They believe themselves to be weak individuals, incapable of these sorts of things all by themselves. So they attribute it to this external entity. In some people's cases, it's coming from the church. And that's the reason they have these warm, loving feelings. And for other people, no, they're projecting it directly onto this magical deity who lives in the sky and tells them to wear special underwear.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
A reclusive deity hasn't written a new book in 2,000 years, and a local rescue dog is adopted for a couple weeks. This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, in a devastating blow to the nation's laundry, 16,000 Americans were reportedly stained during the messiest day in U.S. history. Reports confirm that nearly 3,000 citizens received permanent stains on their good shirt from mustard splatter off a dropped hot dog, along with 12,000 cases of spilled coffee and other dark beverages, ruining Americans' pair of hand-wash-only pants. Government officials further indicated that federal assistance for the nation's overwhelmed dry cleaners would be necessary. And in this week's local news, an elderly Rite Aid patron stretches out a conversation about toothpaste to prolong human contact. In other news, artifacts discovered buried in Washington, D.C. suggest humans once passed laws there. A self-centered child blames his parents' divorce entirely on himself. And a night of uninterrupted sleep really throws off a man's entire day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And if you've ever wanted to have sex with prostitutes and then arrest them for prostitution, or bust people for drugs and then sell the drugs on the side for a nice little bonus, or just enjoy the power rush of being a cop without all the paperwork, then you should try the Thin Blue Line game, which can be found at thinbluelinegame.com. It's the only card game in the world that allows you to shoot someone over a broken taillight and then escape accountability with the magical phrase, "I feared for my life." You know, typical cop stuff. Get it now at thinbluelinegame.com. Assault and battery is not included. But for a limited time, you can order your copies and use the coupon code CTF to have all shipping costs waived. So go get it. That's thinbluelinegame.com. Speaking of magical phrases, or not so much magical phrases, magical underwear, we're having a discussion about that in the Twitch chat, which people can watch at twitch.lrn.fm. It's usually more, we usually have more viewers there than we do on the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is one I'm still working on building, and it's kind of hit and miss at the moment.
How close are you to that 100 subscribers?
It hasn't changed in the last few days. But I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, people are not enjoying the Smite streams, I've noticed. I get way more viewers when I stream the original Zelda or something like that. I'll get like 25, 30 viewers on Twitch at 2 in the morning when I do that. But with Smite, it's like 6. So, and once I export it to YouTube, they just sort of sit there getting 0 views while my older gameplay footage of like Zelda and things like that continue to climb. So that's the exact opposite of what I would have expected. I would have expected a MOBA to get considerably more attention, especially since I'm not bad at it. I'm not good at it, but I'm always learning new characters and things like that. But yeah, so the Mormon Church has this stuff called magic underwear or sacred underwear. I don't know the details about it. Just the existence of it, to me, is awesome. I mean, it's not really that disproportionate to some of the Christian rites and traditions, like their little magical cross that they make, or Catholics do that. Most other denominations of Christianity don't. But they eat the cracker and drink the wine, and according to the actual religious text, when you consume this, you are supposed to be so caught in a state of brainwash and confusion that you believe this cracker you're eating is literally, not figuratively, but literally the flesh of a god.
And the blood.
And people, yeah, and when you drink the wine, it's supposed to be the blood. You're supposed to be drinking blood, committing deicide, as it were, or cannibalism on a deity. Or that's not what deicide means. Obviously, deicide means just to kill the god, but humans already do that. But you get to do it again and reenact the entire thing by eating his flesh. Or at least, obviously, you're eating a cracker. I don't care if you have managed to make yourself insane enough that you really believe you're eating flesh.
Why do Catholics eat the flesh and drink the blood of?
Well, it's not just Catholics that do that. The Methodists do it as well.
Many
the Protestant,
but mostly the Catholics.
No, I mean, it's not mostly the Catholics at all. It's part of all of the Catholic and Protestant traditions of Christianity. The smaller branches like Presbyterians and things like that may not do it, but the Methodists and the Baptists absolutely do. They don't do it as frequently. I think for the Catholics, communion is a more regular thing, maybe once a month or even once every service. But for the Southern Baptists, they certainly still do it, and so do the Methodists and things like that. They give you this little plastic cup with grape juice in it, and I love grape juice, right? So I was always happy to see it.
Right.
And they would go, "This is the blood of Christ." And I remember the first time hearing that, I was just like, what? They want us to drink blood? And I mean, it's not even wine in the Baptist churches.
Yeah, wait a minute. Isn't it supposed to be wine?
It's supposed to be. I imagine some of them it is. Ours was a dry county, though, because it's rural Mississippi. I would imagine there is a religious exemption because there were Catholic churches in the area, and I can't imagine them buying bottles of Welch's grapefruit juice, pouring it into plastic cups, and telling people, "This Welch's grapefruit juice is the blood of your God."
Yeah, that wouldn't fly. Somebody would notice.
So when Mormons go, "We have magical underwear to protect us from demons," I go, yeah, that sounds about right for religion. It sounds funnier, but you also have these people who kneel at crosses and things like that, and who don't even see the obvious paganism in their own religious traditions, with the whole halo evolving from the Egyptian sun disk and things like that, and Yahweh almost literally being a god of the sun and then being too stupid to recognize it, or too indoctrinated, too wrapped up in the religious tradition to recognize, oh man, we're really just worshiping a sun god. We're worshiping Ra here. We're worshiping Apollo, and we don't even realize it.
You know, people who are raised in these religions, they aren't raised to look at it with a critical eye. They're raised to believe it.
Oh, I know. Those Southern Baptists got me good. I thought I was going to become a pastor. I remember making a bet with my sister when I was like in the 5th grade or maybe the 6th grade that I would pay her $50 if I didn't become, which to us was a lot of money at the time.
Oh, yeah.
To me, that was if I didn't become a preacher, I would pay her.
So when did you pay her the $50?
I think I became a preacher, just not of Christianity.
Oh, okay.
I have never paid her that $50, so it's not something I've given any thought to until this exact moment. I'm going to ask her if she wants that $50 because she won that bet.
Yeah, I think she won that one fair and square.
Well, I don't know. I do a radio show here every day, Monday through Friday.
Well, are you preaching a religion?
I don't know that preaching necessarily requires a religion in order for it to qualify as preaching. I mean, you can have people preaching the non-aggression principle and preaching libertarianism and preaching homosexuality and the gay agenda, according to the Nazis that we like ripping apart here on the Call to Freedom.
Oh, yeah, the gay agenda.
Which they have never even attempted to define. Yeah. We're just supposed to totally take their word for it because they're like totes for real, not raving lunatics.
Yeah, get a good job, get married, have kids, you know,
which
the usual gay agenda.
Which, interestingly, right, raise everyone's property values.
Yeah.
What amuses me about the Nazis, though, is I misunderstood initially what you were saying, is that, you know, so many of them do have that mentality in regard to what the white race should be doing. They should be going out and getting married and having a bunch of kids and all of this other nonsense. And, like, almost all of them are incels. not getting laid in the first place, much less getting married or even having successful careers.
You've got a point there.
They latch onto this collectivist identity for the same reason that statists do, because they are failures in life. They've never done anything. They've never accomplished anything. So that hurts their egos. In order to feel like they're not failures, in order to feel like they've achieved something, they identify instead with this mythical entity. With a lot of people, it's Christianity. Oh, well, I'm great. Even though I'm a failure in life and a drug addict who beats their kids, I'm a great person and I'm going to heaven and I'm worthy because I'm a Christian, right? You have the same thing in regard to nationalism. I may be a total piece of crap on cocaine and working at a gas station 2 hours a week because I can't get any other jobs because I've been arrested for embezzlement, but I'm an American, and that makes me better than all of the people who aren't Americans. And then you have the same thing applied to, I already applied it to religion.
Incels and Nazis and
you have the same thing in regard to these Nazis. Well, I may be a failure who got hooked on methamphetamine and lost all my teeth and made a bunch of stupid decisions and got myself arrested by throwing tear gas at people. But you know what? I'm white, so I win. It's just more escapism from the self, more methods that they use because they can't face their own failings. They can't face the shadows within themselves. It's almost Campbellian in the sense that they consciously choose to avoid the labyrinth rather than going in and fighting the Minotaur, because that's hard, right? No one really wants to do it. So they just choose not to. And instead they go, oh, well, I can instead latch onto this white identity or this LGBTQ identity, or this religious identity, or this nationalist identity, or any of these other collectivist identities, so I don't have to look in the mirror and go, you know what? I have really screwed up, and I need to seriously change in order to fix these things, and maybe that's why I'm an incel without a job.
I think you're onto something there.
I think so. I spent a lot of time thinking about this and evaluating the human condition, and that's generally my perspective on how these people end up in the positions that they're in. Like the psychopath in Vegas with whom I got involved. She did this exact thing, latching onto this, oh, well, I'm an indigo child, so I can't be judged according to normal or status. No, you're an immoral, psychotic bitch. I don't care if you think you're special spiritually. You've never done anything special other than screw people over. You're not special. You're just like everyone else. But because they need to feel special, they need to feel a sense of accomplishment and achievement, they latch onto these religious beliefs, whether it's nationalism or statism or racism or any of these other things, so that they can still have it without being good people. This is the call to freedom.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,287, silver at $14.94, and Bitcoin is trading around $4,869. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, 3 more women have come forward to the Washington Post to share their stories about their own encounters with former Vice President Joe Biden, bringing the total number to 7. The Mind Unleashed reports the women came forward mere hours after Biden published a video where he vowed to be more respectful toward women after a controversy over his history of inappropriate physical contact with women exploded onto the front pages.
Social norms have begun to change, they've shifted, and the boundaries of protecting personal space have been reset. And I get it. I hear what they're saying. I understand it. And I'll be much more mindful. That's my responsibility.
All 3 women told the newspaper that Biden's unwillingness to apologize for his behavior in his grand mea culpa video offended them, and said it has become clear that Biden was struggling to understand exactly why his actions were inappropriate. This isn't about sexual assault, one woman said. It's about power dynamics between men and women. Utterly shocking body camera footage was released Thursday, showing what led to one officer's arrest and felony assault charges, and the suspension without pay of 2 others. What started over an alleged noise complaint quickly turned into a gang-style beatdown of several innocent men. The Free Thought Project reports that police, March 16th, were responding to a call over a loud party when the incident began. For several moments, officers held down a man as one of them kicked him repeatedly. At one point, another cop stepped in and put an end to the beating. Had he not, someone may have been beaten to death. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Bray Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Bray Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybraybotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, online at snls.news and libertybeat.news. I'm Mick Murrow. Your news now continues. The U.S. House of Representatives has voted in favor of ending U.S. involvement in the war in Yemen, but the bill is expected to be vetoed by President Donald Trump as the White House cites serious constitutional concerns. The Free Thought Project reports the House voted 247 to 175 in favor of the resolution to direct Trump to end U.S. military involvement in the war within 30 days and to end support for the Saudi-led coalition that it has been backing. Campaigners have organized rallies nationwide in order to give voice to the widespread public demand the report submitted to the U.S. Department of Justice by Special Counsel Robert Mueller be disclosed to members of Congress and the public with as little redaction as possible, without further delay. Spearheaded by a coalition of progressive groups, including Move On, Public Citizen, People for the American Way, and Indivisible, more than 300 rapid response events across the country have been scheduled to make it clear that people want the report made available to lawmakers and the public. In addition to the dispersed rallies nationwide, people in Washington, D.C. plan to demonstrate outside the White House Thursday afternoon to demand Attorney General William Barr release the full report to the U.S. House Judiciary Committee and as much information as possible to the public. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting with the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Studies show that more and more teenagers are leaving Facebook, but where are they going instead? Apparently, to the hottest new social media site in years, the comment section of this YouTube video of a deer running in slow motion. Already, its comment section is seeing over 30 million active users. Facebook isn't giving up so easily, incorporating images and videos of deer, elk, reindeer, and even moose into their layout. But teens say that misses the point entirely. In fact, the site's one unwritten rule: don't post anything about the video itself. Teens say that's not cool. But with more and more people swapping over to the comments section of the slow motion deer video by the day, some trend watchers warn it may begin going the way of Facebook.
I was obsessed with it for a while, but now it's just boring. I'm probably going to switch over to Happy Fast Kitchen.
While we don't know for sure, we believe Happy Fast Kitchen might refer to the Yelp page for a Chinese food restaurant in Cleveland, the new social media site where musician Skrillex recently dropped his latest album.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. As always, I'm your host, Arya DeMesso, composer of the song you're hearing, which you can find on SoundCloud, but I don't have a URL presently because they don't allow you to change your URL once you've set it, and I needed to remove the hyphen from mine, so I had to delete that account and create a new one, and it's not currently old enough in order to set a URL manually.
How old does it have to be?
I think 30 days.
30 days.
Yeah. And it's like 4 days old at this point. So it's just a matter of time, and then it will be at soundcloud.com/Arya DeMezzo. You can also find it, actually you can't find it anywhere else, come to think of it. I'm so used to having all of my music uploaded in places like Reverb Nation and SoundCloud and things like that, but I stopped doing it since I'm really just making music for me these days. I'm the only one who listens to it anyway. Well, now other people listen to it, but not really by choice.
Yeah, you just throw it at them and they kind of listen to it and don't really give it much thought, because who pays that much attention to the music beds?
Well, I do when they're good.
Okay,
and I think we have good music beds. But that voice you're hearing, of course, is Michael Hampton.
That's me,
who is joining us from BitcoinHistory.com, and he's brought in a story. Speaking of white nationalists, Rev has pointed out in the Discord, in the Twitch chat, that not all Nazis, basically, is what he had to say in regard to my characterization of Nazis as, being these sort of losers who latch onto this ideology because they're failures and they need to identify with something that they believe to be greater than themselves.
Oh, they're failures, all right. I mean, that's the only way you get into an ideology like that in the first place.
Well, he says I'm painting it to be 90-10 when it's actually closer to like 50-50. I'm not aware of many actual Nazis who have adopted the ideology for anything other than that somewhat understandable need to identify with something greater than themselves. And what they latch onto, because they're hate-filled, they're damaged individuals for whatever reason, rather than Christianity or just simply nationalism like most people do, or some other thing that they latch onto. They choose, white nationalism. But speaking of Nazis, Jack Renshaw, a neo-Nazi who said that homosexuality was unnatural, has been revealed as a pedophile who groomed young boys.
Oh, there's another failure for you.
Yeah, and I'm going to be the first here to point out that not everyone who hates homosexuality is a pedophile. Not all of them are out there grooming young boys. Not all neo-Nazis are even pedophiles. But this one is. So it has to be discussed because it's funny that not only was he gay, but he was a pedophile who groomed young boys so that he could be gay with them.
You know what the word for that is?
Gay?
Irony.
Oh, yeah. A neo-Nazi who plotted to murder a Labor MP with a machete is a convicted pedophile who groomed underage boys. Jack Renshaw's past offenses could not be reported during his trial for alleged membership of the group. National Action, which was banned over its racist, anti-Semitic, and homophobic ideology in 2016. But restrictions lifted when the jury failed to reach a verdict on charges that Renshaw and 2 other defendants remained members of the group after it was proscribed. Renshaw previously admitted plotting to murder Rosie Cooper, the Labour MP for West Lancashire, Lancashire, okay, and a police officer who investigated him for child sex offenses. So he was being investigated for child sex offenses and plotting to murder the cop who was investigating him. Apparently, he really likes the young boys. The 23-year-old was first arrested in January 2017 over speeches where he called for the genocide of Jewish people. Now, as horrible as that is, I don't think it should be an arrestable offense unless there is a real and credible threat posed by this person.
You don't think people who just happen to have this belief that certain people should die, you think they actually have to do something toward that end?
Yeah, they have to actively be planning it, like he was in regard to the police officer who was investigating him for child sex offenses. And I debated with Matt Keenel of Dankertarians, the libertarian socialist who is no longer a libertarian and is just a diehard statist for the left, about this very subject. There's a long-standing tradition in Western society that has more or less worked, that a threat has to be real and credible before it can be acted upon in self-defense.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, and my argument then, as it is now, is that these people in Charlottesville who he wanted to punch in self-defense, scrawny-ass Matt, who's skinnier and smaller than me, wants to go around punching Nazis, right?
Yeah, that's going to work well.
He wants to go to Charlottesville and punch Nazis because of the things they're saying, because apparently even saying these threats constitutes a credible threat. He was defining a credible threat on the basis of whether or not he felt afraid. And I pointed out to him that that's not the criteria that we use, because nobody can control how skittish he is. Just because he feels afraid doesn't mean there's a real threat. He may be hiding under his bed, but that doesn't mean there's a monster in the closet.
No, I don't even believe that claim. I don't believe he's afraid. If he was afraid, why would he actually go into that?
Yeah, that's another excellent point. We went through something similar to that here in Keene back in January-ish,
yeah,
I think it was.
That does sound vaguely familiar.
It does. I mean, a lot of people claim to be afraid of things while actively advocating for doing things that put them in danger.
Supposedly dangerous positions.
But he was jailed for 3 years in the United Kingdom for stirring up racial hatred. The UK, man, they are nuts over there. They love them some state.
They don't have the freedom of speech like the U.S. kind of sort of does.
Well, I'm just speaking more generally. Certainly they don't have that. If you can go to, and I'm not a fan of any sort of racism either. I want to be explicitly clear on that. I think people should be treated as individuals regardless of the characteristics they happen to have. But if you have some idiot out there saying stupid things, just either ignore them, point out why they're wrong, or, well, I mean, those are really your only options.
Yeah, ignore them, point out why they're wrong, or apparently get the state to put them in a cage.
Yeah, sending armed thugs to assault and batter them and kidnap them against their will is not a loving, peaceful solution to this problem.
Yeah, and spend your tax money on it, too.
Yeah, well, I don't care what they do with their tax money. Well, I do care in the sense that a lot of it is used for aggression, and I'm obviously against that. But people who seized his phone as part of police, I don't know why I read it as people who seized his phone as part of the investigation, discovered evidence that he had groomed underage boys online. A court heard that he set up 2 fake Facebook profiles and contacted the boys aged 13 and 14 between February 2016 and January 2017. So he did this for quite a while in the public criticizing gay people, saying it was unnatural, while working very, very hard, it would seem, to get himself some little boy booty hole. And I think he should probably be in prison for that, they arrested him for hate speech.
Yeah.
Now, when I say should, I mean according to the rules of the UK that they are currently enforcing anyway, whether I'm morally for it or not, right?
Right.
They arrested him for hate speech.
But then they found this what was it, child porn? Did they actually find pictures, or did they just find
It hasn't said anything about finding pictures. It just says that he was attempting to groom them. He requested intimate photographs of the pair before one of the boys reported the message to his tutor, and the police were contacted.
Oops.
Investigations led to the seizure of 2 BlackBerry phones from Renshaw's then family address. Another 2 phones belonging to Renshaw were later recovered, and they showed evidence of searches for homosexual pornography. When interviewed, he told police he was a straight virgin who did not believe in sex outside of marriage and viewed homosexuality as unnatural.
He's spending a lot of time looking at gay porn.
Yeah, so do a lot of these really intensely homophobic people. They probably have more gay porn in their search histories than I do. And I find that to be curious. This is the call to freedom.
There are basically 2 types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. As always, you're invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. That number again is 603-283-6160. Or if you prefer clearer quality, you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. And we've been discussing, we jumped pretty quickly, not entirely sure how, from the Latter-day Saints Church into the issue with, I guess, Nazism and
pedophilia
and just collective. Well, no, this was before that. This was sort of the segue that led us to Nazism, and that sort of collectivist mentality that causes people to latch onto things that they believe to be greater than themselves. And meanwhile, Michael found a story about a Nazi a neo-Nazi. I don't think it's necessary to point out that they're neo-Nazis, you know. I think Nazis is sufficient. Obviously, they're not members of the National Socialist Workers' Party of Germany. I think in the year 2019, that should go without saying.
Yeah, that party is probably a little gone by now.
Yeah, and Chris Cantwell actually made that contention on Shemale versus Nazi. When I asked him if he was bothered by being called a Nazi, he was like, well, obviously, I'm not a member of the Workers' Socialist Party of Germany. I was like, that is a complete non sequitur at this point, because that's not what Nazi means to anyone in the modern world. Now, to be fair, Nazi to a lot of people means somebody who disagrees with me. But that's not what it actually is. This was an actual white supremacist. And increasingly, I'm seeing just white supremacism tied directly to Nazism, where if you're a white supremacist, you're necessarily a Nazi. I don't know
That's not what it means, though.
Does it?
Not entirely.
I've never tried to distinguish the two. I just see it happening. Is that not accurate?
It does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't. That's not what I was saying at all. I'm saying that Nazism is not just white supremacy, because there are lots of white supremacists that aren't Nazis, like your average Democrat and your average Republican.
Well, what is the difference?
Racist.
What is the difference? Well, they may not be overt Nazis.
Does it mean that does that mean then that every racist is a Nazi?
Every white supremacist would be my contention.
Is that going to be our definition now?
I'm not defining anything. I asked the question.
Because I mean, if every white supremacist is a Nazi, then there's a lot more Nazis out there than we know about.
Well, I mean, that's generally the contention of the SJWs, right? Is that there are a lot more white supremacists out there than we know about, and that we're overrun with Nazis and that we don't even realize it. I would agree that, you know, there's a lot more racism, especially within the institution that is the state, than people care to admit.
Well, you couldn't keep racism going this long without a state.
Right, yeah, because, I mean, we would learn very quickly, like we're learning via the internet, that people in Pakistan and India and Indonesia and China and Russia are just freaking people just like us.
Yeah, we're all the same.
And that the only difference between them is that they live in a different geographic location and they have a different state that is telling them historically that we're the evil ones. Because I've always found that to be curious, that the average American does just believe the Russian people are just these evil, murdering psychopaths who hate gay people and all these other things. It's like, you realize they think the very same crap about you, right?
Right.
But they don't seem to have the self-awareness to recognize that.
It's the old divide and conquer trick again.
And that's why we have a world that is absolutely overrun with states. Renshaw told a jury at Preston Crown Court that counter-extremist group Hope Not Hate had maliciously hacked his mobile phones to send messages of a sexual nature to the teenagers.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to agree or disagree. I would certainly say that's probably a plausible way of dealing of people wanting to deal with neo-Nazis.
I mean,
I wouldn't condone it.
It's plausible someone might do that.
Well, I mean, if he's a prominent hate speaker out there giving speeches enough so that he's actually arrested for it, I wouldn't be surprised if some counter-extremist group, which apparently does actually exist, went through the effort of hacking his mobile phones to send these messages to the teenagers. I'm not sure that I agree that that's what happened here, but I'm not saying it's impossible.
Yeah,
and that
it's certainly possible.
Yeah.
He was using BlackBerries. What year was this?
2016.
16. BlackBerries BlackBerries were dead by 2016. What?
No, people still use BlackBerry is still making hardware today. Actually, I think they discontinued their hardware in late 2018.
Yeah, the little that BlackBerry is actually making now are actually Android devices.
Yeah, they discontinued the hardware. But I mean, they certainly still existed in 2016 and we're still making new phones. I would not recommend anyone it's not, he's making out like it's super easy to hack a mobile phone as well, and it's not. It can be easier with Android if you know what you're doing. I mean, that's literally what rooting is.
Right.
But BlackBerry is more like Linux. You know, it's not popular enough. It's not used enough by people to bother to learn how to hack it in the first place. He was placed on the sex offenders registry for 10 years and was told by Judge Robert Autumn his 16-month jail term would start after he has completed his sentence for inciting racial hatred.
Oh, consecutive sentences. That's pretty rare in the UK.
Well, they are totally unrelated crimes. So I would understand why they would be consecutive. Again, I don't think that the state arresting this guy for his hate speech was the proper solution to this problem. And even if it's true that he was out there trying to groom these young boys, I do not agree that kidnapping him and holding him hostage for 16 months is going to improve the situation.
No, it's not going to solve. It's not going to make him not a pedophile if he is one.
Well, I don't mind him being a pedophile, to be honest with you. I find it to be distasteful. It's not something that I would condone, but I'm not a particular fan of two dudes having butt sex either. You know, I don't want that to be illegal. Who am I to judge is essentially the argument. And I'm not saying we need to accept this guy or anything like that. I understand that people have their tendencies and they find it equally distasteful as I do, and they want to condemn this guy in some way. And I'm with you on that. Yeah. I think we should disassociate from this guy. We should criticize him for attempting to act on his pedophilia. We should do all of these things except initiate force and violence against him.
Yeah, and I'm making a different argument that prison is not actually going to help.
No, it'll probably make him gayer. Well, at least in the United States, it would make him gayer.
Yeah, I don't know about UK prisons. So
I imagine that all prisons are probably about the same in that regard, regardless of where they are. Well, I don't know. The UK prisons might be totally different because they're weird in the UK. I mean, they might just, they all be trustees and you're expected to return when the sun goes down, for all I know. I mean,
yeah, could be.
I disagree, Reginald. Renshaw said he would then commit. Hold on, I missed something. In July 2017, he told fellow neo-Nazis of a plan to murder Miss Cooper with a machete, take hostages in a pub, and lure D.C. Henderson there to kill her too. Renshaw said he would then commit suicide by cop by pretending to have a suicide vest on and to leave a video behind claiming the attack had been done on behalf of National Action. This is the Call to Freedom. We're going to try to dig further into this lunatic's head, so don't go anywhere.
Yeah, nice guy.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You can't win if you don't enter, and you actually can improve your chances of winning a prize drawing if you wrinkle up your entry blank. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com, and I speak from experience. Why this works: if they'll be spinning the drum before drawing, your entry blank will move around more than, and not adhere to, other perfectly flat entry blanks. And if they don't spin the drum and merely reach into a box full of other perfectly flat entry blanks, many of which are sticking together, yours will feel different to the person reaching in. When you win, act surprised. And if you're looking for work, this is a metaphor. For more tips on sticking out in a world where just too much blends into the blah, 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 hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom broadcast, as always, from the Liberty Radio studio here in Keene, New Hampshire. And you're invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or if you prefer clearer quality, you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. Well, it seems that Rev isn't calling, but he is spamming up the Twitch chat. With various, and it's not even spamming. He just types a lot, right? Mm-hmm. He said something. I don't know exactly what started it all, but he said something like, "If you think race doesn't really matter at all," and I responded quite naturally, "Race does not matter at all, because it doesn't." He responds, "You have the privilege of saying that because you're not surrounded by a crap." What is that? What is this? It's censored. I don't know what it's supposed to be. Ghetto, I guess. Rev, let me tell you a bit about where I'm from, man. I am from rural Mississippi. Mississippi, which has the highest percentage of Americans in the United States that happen to be black. I lived in a trailer park with a black couple with whom I'm still friends to this day.
I grew up across the street from the projects.
Yeah, I literally grew up. Well, I didn't grow up in the ghetto, but as a young adult, I spent time living in the ghetto. I would still say race doesn't matter at all, and I said it then as well. Now, you may be thinking of something completely different when you say ghetto. You may be thinking about something like Ethiopia or something like that and characterizing those as the ghetto. But I would not agree. I think ghetto is an American term generally meant to disparage these black communities that were almost shuffled there in the same way that we shuffled the Native Americans into reservations. Only we used economic pressure in order to do it to the black Americans, while we used guns directly to do it to the Native Americans. I don't condone either of those.
That's what happened.
Now he's talking about moving all of Harlem into Keene. Hey, dude, more power to you. There are some really cool people in Harlem.
Yeah, come on in.
He's saying we won't have any differences in noise, quality of life, etc. at all. Well, the quality of life here in Keene is a peculiar topic because they have an out-of-control city government and very high property taxes that are chasing businesses out of the area. And if that doesn't do it, then the asinine, arbitrary rulings of the almighty city council will do it, like them raising the the nicotine purchase age to 21, actually causing a vapor shop to shut down and move to a different town. And that's several employees out of jobs because of it. And it's various regulations like that keeping people from opening all sorts of businesses here. And because of that, there are not any sort of industrious jobs or anything like that, which there could be, right? But we need the city council to sort of, I don't want to say...
Stop getting in the way.
Well, I don't want to say get beheaded, but I think that guillotines would be useful in this situation, just to make the statement that, hey, you people, you're strangling us, you're killing us, you're chasing out all of the industrious people because you're not allowing them to be industrious.
It might be the talk of the town if a guillotine suddenly showed up in front of City Hall one morning.
That would be fun. I like where this is going. Jay Noon could probably build a guillotine. Jay Noon, he's a host of Free Talk Live on Wednesday nights, by the way, for those who are unfamiliar with it. It's the show that comes on just after hours. I wonder if I can talk him into building a guillotine for me to put in front of the city council building.
Oh, my.
I don't know how that would go. I think I'd probably get arrested.
I don't know what would happen, but yeah, arresting is probably on the table.
But technically, I'm just making a political statement. I'm not threatening anybody. I think that the existence of a guillotine would probably serve as a pretty good reminder that, you know, they need to stop killing us, killing the people of Keene, turning them into heroin junkies and meth junkies because they have nothing else to live for. Their lives aren't improving. They see no opportunity for their lives to improve. They become trapped in this sort of rut where the only way out is self-destruction. And they don't even see it as self-destruction as much as just escaping from the nightmare in which they found themselves.
Yeah, that's it.
That was the general
addiction.
Yeah, that was the general campaign I used when I ran for sheriff last year. Is that these people and that's why I couldn't have really done anything to fix the heroin problem, is because it's not a subject for law enforcement to even fix. It's a statism problem. That's why people are losing their faith in humanity, their faith in themselves here in Keene, is because their opportunities for employment are like Walmart, gas stations, restaurants, things like that. There are very, very few industrial jobs, even in the county, that they could take to actually earn what they characterize as a decent living, or a living wage, or however they're describing it these days. In order to fix that, we have to get rid of these regulations that are preventing it almost literally in the first place. I don't think drug rehab, we've been told on YouTube that they think the state should provide rehab for drug addicts. I don't think that does much good. I think that the only way to do anything about a drug addict is if that drug addict seeks it out for themselves.
Yeah, they've got to want it. Rehab doesn't work unless they actually want to get help and get clean.
Yeah. I've actually worked with this chick who was in one of these drug rehabilitation programs, drug court, something like that. And because she failed, she was sent to rehab. And I remember she was so excited about going into it, right? She was like, this is going to be great. I'm going to get my life together. And she came back out, and 2 weeks later, she was back with the same circle of friends and back doing heroin again. It's like, you're not fixing the underlying issues. And the underlying issues, when you see heroin and methamphetamine being just rampant, as they are here in Keene, like Marlborough Street could just about be renamed Methamphetamine Street, and nobody would notice the difference.
Yeah, sounds about right.
About once a month, I will drive past it. I will drive down that street on the way to the studio, and there will be a hazmat team there breaking down a meth lab about once a month. And that's not even getting into the heroin that is just being traded all around Keene, New Hampshire. When you have something of that scale, when you have that level of hopelessness, that level of despair chasing people into these notoriously destructive drugs, you have to ask, what is it about this environment that is causing people to be so hopeless in the first place? And the only answer here in Keene, I mean, it's a nice place. It's a nice town. It's got a lot of really nice people. It's got decent wages and things like that. The issue is more the jobs, and there's no sense of progress within these jobs than the actual wages themselves. And all of this is a result of burdensome regulations imposed. But you can't even open a homeless shelter here in Keene without like $17,000 up front just to pay for the licensing and to get the state off your back to give you permission to open that shelter in the first place.
That bit is ridiculous.
It's absolutely bizarre. None of it's going to help real people. If you want to help a drug addict, all you can really do for them, and I'm not saying there's any sort of, oh, you just need to be able to give them a hug and then all of their drug problems will go away. No, it's far worse than that. You have to address the underlying hopelessness. And from what we see here in Keene, New Hampshire, which is, again, a nice place to live, and with a pretty good climate, and it's sort of a nexus here in Cheshire County, people coming and going, and all of that.
It's nice if the state's not messing with you.
Yeah, the hopelessness is brought about by the state, and even then, we have the state's enforcers who are relatively innocuous. The Keene Police Department, they could be a lot worse. They used to be a lot worse, it would seem, but because of things like Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree, which you can watch at victimlesscrimespree.com, and other activism from libertarians who have come to Keene solely for the purpose of pushing back against this state that, is oppressing people, the police department is now used to being recorded. Judges are now used to no one standing up in their honor when they step into the courtroom.
That's a good one.
And all kinds of really cool things like that have just really shown the state that who it's messing with, and that we're not going to be pushed around indefinitely. And this is the Call to Freedom, so don't go anywhere.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Oh,
All right, welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And as always, I'd like to remind you that our podcasts have moved and are no longer being uploaded to Spreaker. You can instead find them at Podbean by using calltofreedomlive.podbean.com. You can also use the RSS feed for various podcasting apps, which has the same URL followed by /feed.xml. Again, that's calltofreedomlive.podbean.com. And if Agorist Hosting ever gets back to me on various things with which I've been discussing with them, we will actually have it redirected where you can just type in podcast.calltofreedomlive.com or
calltofreedomlive.com.
Starting to get tongue-tied from all of that long URLs running through my head to where it will just automatically direct you to our Podbean page. I think that would be a better way of directing people to it than asking them to. I mean, I don't want to fix Podbean to the end of it. I mean, yeah, that's where our podcasts are hosted, but we also pay
Maybe
them.
we'll have to change it.
Change it to what?
Some other host, some other... Well, we got rid of Spreaker. Now we're on Podbean. We might have to go somewhere else.
I'm definitely sticking. Well, the only other alternative is SoundCloud, and they're significantly more expensive and less user-friendly. With Podbean, you can actually set up your own look and feel and things like that. You're not able to do that with SoundCloud. But after more than 48... To get back to this subject, there was this neo-Nazi who was arrested for inciting hatred against the Jews in the United Kingdom. And during the investigation, the police officers found a bunch of evidence on his phones that he had been attempting to groom a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old boy to engage in homosexual sex acts with him. Of course, he denies the charge, instead saying that he was hacked by a counter-extremist group who wanted to shut him down and make him look like he was a pedophile.
Yeah, likely story.
The plot was exposed by former neo-Nazi Robbie Mullen, and of course all of this came to a head because he had a plan to murder a British MP, take hostages in a pub, and lure DC Henderson there to kill her too. He said that he would then commit suicide by cop by pretending to have a suicide vest on, and would leave a video behind claiming that the attack had been done on behalf of National Action. I've always been curious by these people who do things like this. You're not going to win support, right, by doing these horrific things. Like the asshole in New Zealand. I'm not allowed to say that on the air. The jerk in New Zealand who shot 50 and murdered 50 people and wounded some 50 others. He reportedly did so in the name of white nationalism or whatever. What did he expect that to do for white nationalism as an ideology?
I don't know. I don't get it.
It was just going to further demonize it and have people go, oh, yep, okay, so they're psychopaths. I guess Matt Keenel was right, and they should be punched on sight just for existing.
Yeah, could be. Maybe they think that it will cause other white nationalists to come out of the closet, as it were.
It could. I mean, I'm not a white supremacist, obviously, but if I were, I certainly would not want to be hit with that brand now that somebody had committed a mass murder in the name of that same brand. So I think it would have the opposite effect of chasing people further into the closet.
You're definitely not a white nationalist, because I don't think a white nationalist would care all that much about being branded as a mass murderer of non-whites.
True. The plot was exposed by a former neo-Nazi, Robbie Mullen, who raised the alarm with counter-extremist group Hope Not Hate. After more than 48 hours of deliberations, a jury failed to reach a verdict over whether Renshaw of Skelmersdale in Lancashire and two other defendants were members of National Action at the time. Jurors were discharged on Tuesday, and prosecutor Duncan Atkinson said he would not seek a second retrial. Renshaw had admitted making preparations to kill his local MP and threatening to kill DC Henderson. He was remanded in custody to be sentenced on 17th of May at the Old Bailey. Man, the UK is so weird. He's going to be sentenced at the Old Bailey. Yeah. I don't even know what they're talking about.
It's some kind of famous criminal justice place in the UK.
Apparently,
I think they used to have hangings there.
Apparently, this is one of his interesting Facebook posts. I wish my dog would stop licking the penises of other male dogs. What? I love you, Derek. That's his dog. But don't challenge my principles, because my principles will likely win. So he was calling his dog gay because his male dog was licking the penises of other male dogs.
Oh, good grief.
And I would tend to agree, by human standards, that would definitely qualify as gay. But your dog is not a human. And you probably shouldn't hold it to the same standards of behavior that you do other human beings. Former National Action leader Christopher Lithgow, 32, we don't care about his age. They were convicted of membership at a previous trial last year. So apparently just being a member of this group is illegal in the United Kingdom.
Yeah. They do that because they're a state.
Well, they do that because they're a state, and because the people of the United Kingdom, they really like that boot on their necks. I mean, it's 100% Stockholm Syndrome, and we see it here in the United States as well, where people just love the state.
You know, the thing about the UK, I've kind of been watching the UK for a little while. The thing about their particular, the way they go about stating, as it were, is that almost entirely they manage to keep the boot on the necks of other people, as it were. So most,
what do you mean?
Most people in the UK,
the boots are on the necks of the people of the UK.
Yeah, but very lightly. They don't feel it. They don't notice it.
Well, they notice it. They just love it. And that's the Stockholm Syndrome aspect. They notice the CCTV cameras everywhere.
Oh, yeah, that they notice.
They notice
and
that
they like that.
They notice that they can't own guns. They notice all of these oppressions. They notice their violations of their right to free speech. They notice all of this stuff. They just like it.
They don't.
They think it's a good. That's exactly my point. It's Stockholm syndrome. They have come to love their own oppression, and we have it here in the United States as well, where it's not just the bootlickers on the right waving around their stupid thin blue line flags. It's true of the left as well. They preach that only the police should have guns, while they demonize the police as disproportionately targeting black men. Make up your freaking minds. But it's ultimately because to them, just like in the UK, it's not about any sort of social justice. It's not about blacks versus whites. It's not about racism. It's not about the police being proven to be racist against black people in the United States. It's that they want the state to be under their control. They want to be the ones enforcing that boot on other people's necks.
That's exactly what it is.
And that's why they love the boot. That's also why you have people on the right who love the boot, as they carry around their come and take it flags right beside their freaking thin blue line flags, like they have no awareness whatsoever that the people who are going to come and take it are the ones that they're busy supporting with that stupid thin blue line flag.
These people want to oppress you with the left boot, and these people want to oppress you with the right boot.
Yep. That's it. That's ultimately what it boils down to. And people love it when it's their own boot. The Republicans love it when it's a Republican boot on their necks, like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And the Democrats love it when it's a Democratic boot on their necks, like Barack Obama. It doesn't really seem to make any difference to them. The only thing they really hate is the prospect of the other side being the one with the boot under its control. And that's what is pissing Democrats off so much about Donald Trump, because the Republicans are almost giddy in their knowledge and their openness about the fact that, hey, Donald Trump is the boot, and we're going to use him to crush all the veins in your neck. And that's retaliation, of course, because of how they felt under Barack Obama.
Right.
Where Democrats, not quite as overtly, but certainly subtly pushed the message that Barack Obama was their boot, and he was going to do all of these wonderful progressive Democratic things that were going to crush the veins in the necks of the conservatives.
And he did.
He did, but I mean, no more than any other president did.
Well, Obamacare was pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, was it though? Yeah, I guess it was, because they did attempt to fine me for not having health insurance on one occasion. And I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm just never doing my taxes again.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that's how people get out of that fine, by just not doing their taxes. Sure, you don't get that big fat refund, but let's be honest here, that refund isn't a refund anyway. It's money that they stole from businesses like the company that I was running at the time that paid about $3,000 every single month to taxes to the government, while getting absolutely no benefit of it whatsoever. That's where that money comes from. And with, middle-class families, upper-middle-class families who subsidize the living expenses of people who can't afford to, go out and buy a $6,000 car every 2 years. This is the call to freedom.
Hey, I'm LRN.FM Program Director Ian Freeman. If you're listening to our free-to-air satellite feed in North or Central America, heads up. We've been on the Galaxy 19 satellite since 2010, but now our satellite provider is moving LRN.FM to a new channel on a different transponder. The current channel will stay on the air until the end of May to give you time to transition without any loss of service, so don't delay. I've posted the new channel details at sat.lrn.fm, but in case you're listening with no internet access, if you do a blind scan on your receiver, you should see the new channel at transponder 6, 11.8425 GHz, horizontal polarization, symbol rate 22,000, FEC 3/4. All that information is at sat.lrn.fm, as well as a link to our Patreon, where you can support our channels for just $2 a month. Visit sat.lrn.fm for more information about our international satellite channels, and thanks for listening to LRN.FM. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,287. Silver at $14.94, and Bitcoin is trading around $4,869. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, 3 more women have come forward to the Washington Post to share their stories about their own encounters with former Vice President Joe Biden, bringing the total number to 7. The Mind Unleashed reports the women came forward mere hours after Biden published a video where he vowed to be more respectful toward women after a controversy over his history of inappropriate physical contact with women exploded onto the front pages.
Social norms have begun to change, they've shifted, and the boundaries of protecting personal space have been reset. And I get it. I get it. I hear what they're saying. I understand it. And I'll be much more mindful. That's my responsibility.
All 3 women told the newspaper that Biden's unwillingness to apologize for his behavior in his grand mea culpa video offended them, and said it has become clear that Biden was struggling to understand exactly why his actions were inappropriate. This isn't about sexual assault, one woman said. It's about power dynamics between men and women. Utterly shocking body camera footage was released Thursday, showing what led to one officer's arrest and felony assault charges, and the suspension without pay of 2 others. What started over an alleged noise complaint quickly turned into a gang-style beatdown of several innocent men. The Free Thought Project reports that police, March 16th, were responding to a call over a loud party when the incident began. For several moments, officers held down a man as one of them kicked him repeatedly. At one point, another cop stepped in and put an end to the beating. Had he not, someone may have been beaten to death. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, online at snls.news and libertybeat.news. I'm Mick Murrow. Your news now continues. The U.S. House of Representatives has voted in favor of ending U.S. involvement in the war in Yemen, but the bill is expected to be vetoed by President Donald Trump as the White House cites serious constitutional concerns. The Free Thought Project reports the House voted 247 to 175 in favor of the resolution to direct Trump to end U.S. military involvement in the war within 30 days and to end support for the Saudi-led coalition that it has been backing. Campaigners have organized rallies nationwide in order to give voice to the widespread public demand the report submitted to the U.S. Department of Justice by Special Counsel Robert Mueller be disclosed to members of Congress and the public with as little redaction as possible, without further delay. Spearheaded by a coalition of progressive groups, including Move On, Public Citizen, People for the American Way, and Indivisible, more than 300 rapid response events across the country have been scheduled to make it clear that people want the report made available to lawmakers and the public. In addition to the dispersed rallies nationwide, people in Washington, D.C. plan to demonstrate outside the White House Thursday afternoon to demand Attorney General William Barr release the full report to the U.S. House Judiciary Committee and as much information as possible to the public. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting with the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Police in Lehman, Michigan describe a local student's recently foiled plans to commit a deadly school shooting as, quote, embarrassingly bad. Authorities apprehended 17-year-old Trent Bayer Thursday after finding him in an empty hallway struggling to load a pathetically small caliber pistol while simultaneously attempting to unfold an inaccurate map of the school. Lehman Police Chief Ethan Holman elaborated several ways Bayer's strategy could have been more effective, including setting off a homemade explosive in the teacher's lounge, executing popular students first, and at the very least purchasing some military fatigues.
You're not going to intimidate anyone by wearing a tucked-in button-down shirt and pleated trousers.
In other news, a jar of change on a dresser is sadly factoring into a number of financial decisions. A teen zebra doesn't give a shit how much you honk, it's not getting out of the road. And Dad's new 20-year-old Thai boyfriend really sucks at categories. And don't forget to never ever drink Pepsi Cola, whose dipshit marketing team backed out of a full-page ad buy at the last minute. For more news, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
Welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom. I'm your host, as always, Aria DeMesso, author of Dancing in Hellfire, which you can find on Amazon. And I'm joined in the studio today by
Michael Hampton from BitcoinHistory.com.
And we're having a lively chat on YouTube for those who would like to join it. You can look me up by searching for The Anarchist Shemale or Aria DeMesso or any of these other ways. Currently about the state and just the overarching idea of anarcho-capitalism, which to me it's an interesting thing. But right now we're talking about gun licensing and things like that, and I've pointed out that, strictly speaking, I'm not against gun licensing as long as it's done by a corporation that doesn't or not a corporation, an entity rather, that doesn't utilize force, violence, and coercion in order to achieve it. Right.
You mean like some company that would give you a certificate that says you know how to use a gun, you know how to use a rifle in this situation, you know how to use a shotgun, you know how to use a pistol, you know how to do this particular type of defensive, you have this type of defensive training, whatever.
Yeah.
The NRA already does that.
The NRA is stupid, though.
Yeah, true.
I mean, the NRA is absolutely part of the United States government, everything but technicality.
That's true, but I'm just saying they have these programs already that they will train you and they will give you a certificate that says you've received this training.
Sure. And we have yes,
and there are other organizations too that will give you firearms training.
Saying I'm talking about certification, not licensing, that's nitpicking. The difference between the two is negligible. That's all your driver's license is a certification that you know how to drive, right?
No, it's a certification that you paid the government some money.
Well, fair enough. Yeah, it's technically speaking, yeah, because there's a lot of idiots out there with driver's licenses who have no idea whatsoever how to drive. But there's no qualitative difference between a certification and a license, except the license permits you to do the thing while the certification says you know how to do the thing.
That's a pretty big difference.
I mean, it is, and it comes back to the matter of states and their use of force and violence. What he's essentially arguing is that if you don't get the state's permission, then they should be able to use force and violence against you until you obey. And I am adamantly against that. And I can't believe that anyone who claims to be a moral individual is propagating that ideology.
Yeah, that's not moral at all. That's statist.
I mean, sure, it can be dangerous to have somebody out there without a license driving. But the license, as we understand them, at least here in the United States, it's really just a rubber stamp proving that you've paid your registrations to the government.
Pretty much. The road test is ridiculously easy in most states. The written test isn't that hard. It's multiple choice, and if you get it wrong, they'll give you another chance. And it really, the license doesn't tell whether you're a good driver. But if you've taken a driving school, like BMW's got an advanced driving school in New Jersey, and if you've gone there, then you know how to drive at high speed, drift your car, and do all this other stuff that you may never actually have to do, but you're prepared for all kinds of situations.
Interesting. I did not know such a school existed.
Yeah.
I don't believe that he's openly calling for gun registration. Cars have to be registered, and they aren't banned. They are banned if they're not registered. And the police will pull you over for it.
Yeah, they
and
will.
if you happen to be black, or if you just say something that they don't like, they will murder you in cold blood.
And get away with it.
And they will get paid vacations, and then a jury will find them not guilty. That's the reality, right? That's the world that we live in. That's how this statism. I realize that a lot of people think that, okay, it could work, right? We just need good police officers who don't shoot people. We just need good laws. We just need good politicians to pass those laws.
It's just the wrong people are in there.
I totally get it. In theory, yes, statism could work just fine without all of this murdering and robbery and theft and rape going on. But it doesn't. And the Stanford prisoner experiment shows us that.
Man, it shows us why.
When you put an ordinary person in a position of power over other ordinary people, they immediately devolve into just immoral, abusive monsters.
That's the way it works. It's part of human nature, so we have to work around that.
Right, and that is, to be fair, why anarchism will not work here in the world, here on Earth. That's why the only alternative I see, the only way we're ever going to have an anarchist society, is if all of the anarchists go, you know what? Let's go build this anarchist society where we just don't shoot each other. Do I have any examples of not-state societies working? No, I don't. Do you have any examples of state societies working?
No, you don't.
No, we don't. What you're asking for is effectively shifting. It's not shifting the burden of proof. That's not correct. I know the name of it, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. You're demanding the impossible, though.
Yeah, it's a logical fallacy.
And it's a common tactic among people who advocate statism as a solution to problems. It's like, well, you can't prevent all murders either, therefore our system is better. It's like, look, if you can't prevent all murders from occurring, then why do I have to when I propose this alternative solution, right?
I don't need an alternative in order to demonstrate that your system is wrong and should be gotten rid of.
Right. It's morally wrong. I don't even care if it works. I don't care if statism works. It's morally wrong to use the threat of violence and to use violence to force people to the will of other individuals. And I don't care if it manifests in theocracy, democracy, republicanism, or any other sort of ocracy or ism. It's immoral. And that is the hill I will choose to die on every single time.
Yeah, there is no morality in the state. It's not possible.
No, because the state is a type of government that utilizes force and coercion in order to achieve its aims. And it has this whole religious aspect to it. We discussed this on Free Talk Live a few months ago, where it's got all of the religious ceremonies, it's got the prayers. Good God, at the Cheshire County Republican meeting, and I still have it recorded on my phone, but that phone is now broken, and I never actually extracted it. Good on me for that. Delayed it until it was no longer actually possible to do, where after they said the Pledge of Allegiance, they just randomly burst out into song, right?
What?
And yeah, they did. They just started singing My Country 'Tis of Thee, or whatever it's called. And it was weird, right? It was very weird.
That is weird.
It was exactly as weird as you would expect it to be. And then afterward, one voice rang out in the silence, Amen. And that tells me everything I need to know about the state. You have the judges come out there in their robes, their religious guards. Realistically, the aesthetic features of a courtroom are identical to those of a church. The Pledge of Allegiance, all of these little patriotic songs and things like that, they're just hymns being sung, and they're prayers being offered up to the state.
It's all ritual.
Yeah. And that's what perpetuates the state, is these mythological ideas surrounding it, that it is somehow this magical, wonderful thing, when it isn't. It's an institution of immoral monsters, thugs, rapists, warlords who have taken control over a geographic area and use propagandic techniques such as this sort of religious connotations in their symbolism to perpetuate itself. That's all it is.
I can't say anything more to that.
And I think humanity would be best served by eliminating it. And you know, that it is true that if we were to abolish the state entirely today, by the time we woke up, there would be another one, right?
Yeah, they would just recreate it out of thin air.
Yeah, because it's an issue with humans at this point, and that gets back to the whole thing. Once we're out there colonizing the stars, you know, we will be able to just get a bunch of voluntarists together and say, okay, well, we're going to this planet. You're not welcome to come here and initiate aggression against people. That's the rule.
Yeah. Bye.
We can't kick people out who disagree because that here on Earth, we can't kick people out who disagree. Here in the United States, whatever, if we became an anarchist society, we wouldn't be able to kick out the statists because that would require initiating aggression against them. And then it comes down to a question of civil war. Okay, but they're technically wanting to commit aggression against you. Sure, I guess technically, but they have to actually start doing that. And it gets into this whole mess of things. That's why the stars, 2619 or somewhere around the next millennium, we will have the opportunity to see an anarchist society play out, and I think it will be a beautiful thing. This is the Call to Freedom.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Free Talk Live.
And I use the downsizedc.org system for responding to my Congress critters and talking to the thieves and liars and despots in Washington, D.C. And in these letters, they outline the issue for me. And then they flush it down the toilet. And it's so demeaning. Yeah. They just don't care what I think. I can tell them, he'll
pretend like he cares if he's trying to get elected.
They only care what you think if you're giving them a check with, 5 digits on it. Then you might be able to get them to do something. Yeah. But that's just one senator among the 535 disgusting, dishonorable thieves. What's a guy to do? These lobbying groups, they run Washington. Washington has been taken over. It does not belong to the American people. It doesn't do anything for the American people. It is a bad, bad place.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America. as well as sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
All right, welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And as always, you're invited to give us a call. It's 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. And Michael, you brought in a story. It seems that a woman working at a Starbucks, because of course she was, lost her cool and flipped out on this guy for wearing a Make America a Great Again hat, a MAGA hat, as it were. This is not the first time we've seen something along these lines by a long shot. There's a lot of division in the West, and we're becoming increasingly politically divided,
polarized.
Yeah, to the extent that people are turning away from their friends and family over political disagreements and things like that. It's just that seems to me to be an equally inevitable outcome to having the state in the first place and watching it use these sorts of divide and conquer tactics against us.
It's unfortunate because one of the things that civilization means is being civil to especially to people that disagree with you.
But we're not seeing civility. There was the guy in the purple sweater who roundhouse kicked the pro-life woman. There was the Trump supporter who I don't recall exactly what he did. So I'm blanking on it because we covered quite a lot of these. But it's not just the left that is doing things like this. But it was a leftist in this particular case. An accountant has lost her job after berating. Okay, so she was not a Starbucks employee.
No, they just both happened to be at Starbucks.
Of course she was. Yeah. Well, he came in wearing a MAGA hat at a Starbucks in Palo Alto. And this apparently triggered her. It took place on Monday, and it quickly went viral. I have not seen it yet. I'm looking forward to seeing it. The woman lost her job, and since losing it, she seems to have gone into hiding while the man was spotted wearing the hat again Wednesday.
Oh, my, yeah. Well, this lady had to go into hiding because she is very, very recognizable. She's...
Is it clean?
She's got a mohawk.
Is her language clean?
Language clean? I don't know.
In the video. I'll have to find out at the next break. That's definitely worth looking into. Okay, so the woman, the dude looks like Phil from Duck Dynasty, if anybody's ever seen that. He's got he looks like an old conservative dude. He doesn't look like somebody that I would ever hang out with. Let's put it that way. And he's wearing a MAGA hat, which means he probably wouldn't be a close friend of mine, although I wouldn't hate him over it. He characterizes it as, this crazy woman came over and started raving at me. She turned to the rest of Starbucks and said, hey, everybody, here's this racist over here. He hates brown people. Oh, my God. He's crazy. He's a Nazi, and so forth.
Now, wait for it. There's more.
The woman, Rebecca Parker Mankey, then began taking photos and posting about it on her Facebook page, saying she was going to shame him, get him fired, kicked out of clubs. Look, this is not the kind of guy who goes to clubs.
No, this is an older gentleman. He's got more gray hair than I do.
This is coming from Palo Alto, California. We were asked on Twitch. They asked where it was coming from, so the question came from Twitch, and then I answered there. Anyway, Victor says that the woman left, then came back and tried once again to rile the Starbucks crowd. hey, everybody, here's this racist, and so on. And then as she wrote in her thing, she was disappointed everybody didn't come and mop me. In fact, the opposite happened. Hey, that's beautiful. I like where this is going. People started harassing Parker Mackey's family. Okay, I no longer like where it's going. And her employer, Griffin Stringed Instruments, where she was an accountant. The store owner decided to fire her after he read her Facebook posts. Oh, it's coming from the sanfrancisco.cbslocal.com. That's what they meant.
Yeah. Yeah, KPIX Channel 5 in San Francisco.
No one answered the door at Parker Mackey's home, but a female spoke through a closed window saying Rebecca doesn't live here. Dave's not here, man.
Yeah, Dave's not here.
She didn't want to discuss the issues with me. She just wanted to scream about Nazis and so on, and that's what we've sunk into, Victor said. Victor wears a yarmulke underneath his MAGA hat. He is Jewish. And so to him, being called a Nazi is hurtful.
I told you to wait for it.
That is amazing. She called a Jewish man a Nazi.
I know, right?
I have to watch this video. The world needs to see this.
Yeah, we're gonna have to dig up this video because I don't have it on the phone.
I need to see this video. That's amazing, and that it would ideally cause people to be more careful with their words. I've been called transphobic more times than I care to even think about. Generally online by people who don't immediately realize I'm trans. I will say something that that just triggers them, like using the word she-male or something like that. Which
right.
I wouldn't call other trans people that, but I do call myself the anarchist she-male because it's a brand that no one else is ever going to use.
Yep, and you're reclaiming it for yourself.
Yeah, but porn no longer uses it anyway. It's all trans woman and tranny now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't call myself a tranny. That actually, it can bother me when people call me that. It doesn't usually, but it can. She-male, no, to me, that's just funny. I don't care what anyone says. But I do end up with people who accuse me of transphobia because I say things like that, or because I say that I have no respect for drag queens, or that, that little kid, whatever his name is, I'm not going to call him her because he's not trans. He's just playing a drag queen occasionally.
The kid who was doing the drag shows.
Yeah. I mean, the drag isn't trans. So I'm not going to, when they're in character, sure, I guess, but that's just being respectful of the character. Like if a woman was out there playing King Henry, and that doesn't make any sense because that's just a play and I still wouldn't call that actress a he. So it's a bit more nuanced than what I was initially going to say, but if they want to play dress up and pretend to be the other gender briefly, I mean, that's fine. And while they're pursuing that, while they're actively engaged in the pursuit of that, I will gladly use the pronouns of their choice. But generally, no, I'm not going to. I'm just not. And that pisses people off, and it causes people to go, wow, I didn't know you were so transphobic. You seemed like a pretty cool person right up until then. It's like,
well, you missed a whole lot of news there.
I've got some news for you.
People...
I've also been called homophobic, and, there is more basis to that than there is with the transphobia, because I was never explicitly had transgenderism thrown in my face as something wicked and sinful when I was a kid, because it just wasn't a topic of discussion. It was always homosexuality, right?
It wasn't a thing.
Well, it was, but it wasn't.
It was a thing. It just wasn't a thing.
It was extremely rare.
Right.
I mean, if the church was going to talk about something, it was not going to be transsexualism. It was going to be the gay people and the gay agenda and all of that. So that's what I heard. And that certainly left an impact where for years, decades even after the fact, I still refuse to acknowledge to anyone that I had any interest in guys whatsoever. And I don't know, Mark Edge asked yesterday while he was sitting with us, whether that makes me gay or straight. I was like, well, really, it depends on one's perspective. I mean, I'm either a straight woman or a gay dude. A really gay dude, apparently, or a really straight woman. I don't know. To me, it's a mess. I'm just me. Why do we need these labels? This is the Call to Freedom.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom, and as always, you're invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160, or you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. And I meant to get into this yesterday. Joe Biden apparently feels really bad about all of the women he molested over the last several decades, and has totally promised not to do it anymore. And now I can't find it that I'm looking for it.
It's a few days back, I think.
Was it that long ago? I thought it was yesterday.
It's a few days, but I think I found another article from today or yesterday, so we can dig that up.
But I mean, he's recently made a statement at the very least, which is why I thought that it was more recent than that. Oh, that was what the issue was. Washington Post was paywalled, and I have no interest in doing that. Rev! Okay, so look, I pointed out that at some point I'm going to start doing a uncensored show for Twitch only. Sort of in the vein of Freer Talk Live, except I obviously won't be here at the LRN studio. But very similar. Rev he regularly pushes me to go ahead and start it. First of all, Rev, I work most nights. You know, I don't get off until 3 o'clock in the morning most of the time. So the prospect of doing it at night is not realistic unless it's a Monday or Tuesday night. And even then, it's really not likely because I would rather play a video game. I said bi-weekly at the most, I believe is what I said when I was putting out the idea, because I don't want to spend even my off days doing even more of the show, doing more show stuff than I'm already doing. Good God. And he constantly talks about how I work too much and I need to take some downtime, and here he is just pushing me to start a new show.
Make up your mind, Rev.
But honestly, I do want to do the show. I don't know what I'm going to call it. I'm just leaning toward Aria Uncensored right now because it's self-explanatory.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. But it takes time to put these sorts of things together, and it's not just, oh well, I have to do the overlays and all of that. I have to generate buzz for it. I have to identify a hook for it. Why are people going to want to watch this? Is it just going to be me ranting at a camera for 30 minutes or an hour? Nobody's going to really want to watch that. I mean, some people might, especially being uncensored. But that's not good enough.
It should be you uncensored for an hour will be entertaining.
It's not good enough for me to want to start the show anyway. Along those lines, really, you think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I do not consider it to be that interesting.
I know your cats will like it.
Yeah, they will like sitting in my lap through all of it. They certainly do that. Like, it seems that every time I started up a Smite stream last night, 10 seconds later, one of my cats was going to be in my lap laying right on my hand, keeping me from effectively playing the game, because you need your mouse to do it.
Yeah.
And they like laying right there where I have about a half an inch of movement in each direction.
Yeah, pick another spot. Come on.
Yeah, well, I'm not a large person. They both want to lay on me, and the way I have it set up is when I play these kind of games, I have my keyboard in my lap and my mouse in my lap with a mouse pad and something too hard to anyway. So that's how I have it set up, because that's the way I prefer. It's the way I've always played it, because I'm used to using things like televisions and things like that as monitors rather than an actual computer monitor seated at a desk.
Right.
So I've got the keyboard and the mouse pad sitting on my lap. I've also got both cats trying their best to fit, and it is so distracting. It's cute, right, when it happens. It is cute because I love my cats to death, but it's so irritating when I'm trying to do anything and they just keep pressing the space bar or whatever because they don't care.
Yeah. They don't know what's going on in your game.
They have, well, it's not just that, they just have no care of personal space whatsoever.
Oh no.
But that's cats for you. So I don't have this article pulled up in front of me now because of this paywall from the Washington Post, but I
put another one on the same story in Telegram, so you should be able to.
I do intend to start that show. I'm not exactly sure when, because as I said, I have to generate some attention for it before I do that, like Shemel versus Nazi, which we did on March the 15th. We spent weeks promoting that. Not just here on the Call to Freedom, but it was promoted on Free Talk Live. Chris Cantwell promoted it. The people who were intensely interested got out there and promoted it. Sort of a street team.
Yeah.
If people are familiar with rock bands and how all of that works, what I have to do is have some hook interesting enough, fascinating enough to get people to get out there and do that same thing for this new Twitch show.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
And you certainly can't do it in the span of a week and a half or whatever it was that somebody first said called a freedomer, because that was the first time I'd ever given it any thought whatsoever. And I don't think it's been much more than a week. So we finally... Oh, I thought Biden did apologize. Okay.
They're saying his apology isn't a real apology.
Oh, well, this is coming to us from Bloomberg about creepy Uncle Joe Biden. Apparently, if you type the word creepy right now into Google, the first result you will get is creepy Uncle Joe in reference to Joe Biden.
Sounds about right.
Who is a pretty creepy dude when it comes down to smelling people's hair and things like that.
Yeah, what is up with that?
I don't know what's up with that. That's weird, man. That's like Buffalo Bill kind of weird. That's what I would be concerned about in regard to Joe Biden. Former vice president, you remember all of the memes about how Joe Biden didn't have any controversies. He was vice president for 8 years and got out of office and didn't shoot anyone in the face, didn't misspell potato, didn't do any of that.
Yeah, he did absolutely nothing, apparently.
Well, the chicken has come home to roost, it would seem, because he's being faced with accusations from several women that he's made them uncomfortable with unwanted physical contact. But he now says that he understood that social norms have changed and that he needs to be more respectful of the personal space of others. Now, somebody else said this recently. Somebody else said that social norms have changed, and God, I wish I could. And we criticized it coming from them too, because it was the same kind of placating BS coming out of the mouth of someone else who had historically been guilty of not sexual assaults, but sexual harassment of women, coming out and saying, "Oh yeah, well, you know, social standards have changed, so," and they're not wrong. You know, it's no longer acceptable to molest women in public.
No, it's not.
He is correct about that. I would say I'm appalled that this had to be pointed out to anyone, but clearly it did.
It did.
But evidently, if wider society was still okay, because that's the issue here, is that he's not adopting these social norms because he thinks they're right or they're more just. He's adopting them because they're the social norms and he doesn't want to get in trouble.
Right. This is not him doing it because it's the right thing to do. This is him doing it because he's a politician.
Yeah. Yeah, and he wants to be popular. And if rumors are to be believed, he wants to be president in 2020.
Yeah. We'll get a Biden 2020 t-shirt. I saw a Biden 2020 t-shirt which has like handprints over the breasts.
I have to buy that. I have to find where you saw that and buy it.
I will dig that up again, and I will make sure that we promote that.
I did it. No, I get it. I get it, Biden said in a 2-minute web video posted Wednesday afternoon. I hear what they're saying. Well, that's good. But again, you shouldn't have. This is one of those kinds of things you shouldn't have to tell people. You know, you shouldn't have to tell people, hey, it's not okay to walk up behind women, grab their boobs, and smell their hair. You're not allowed to do that sort of thing, Uncle Joe.
Yeah, that sort of thing was. I mean, when was that ever okay?
Well, I mean, historically, I think there is some basis to the whole creepy grandpa doing things like that. And that seems to be sort of the vein in which he sees this sort of behavior as, oh, don't mind me, I'm just the creepy grandpa asking the 16-year-old cheerleaders to come sit on grandpa's lap. But that's creepy, dude.
Yeah, it is.
It's creepy, perverted behavior that, honestly, you're old enough to know better than to take part in. But we're going to dig further into Joe Biden and his signaling that he wants everyone to forgive him, although he's not asking for forgiveness and certainly not apologizing. This is the call to freedom.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS Paris.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agrishosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agris Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agrishosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agrishosting.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
How many lawyers does it take to change a light bulb? None. They'd rather keep their clients in the dark. There are too many lawyer jokes to count. However, there are some lawyers with more noble intentions. At the Institute for Justice, we bring the light to our clients. We are a non-profit public interest law firm with clear values and principles. At IJ, we fight for those whose most basic rights are denied by the government. Visit our website today at ij.org.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom, and maybe you listen regularly to the show and have been wondering how you can help and show your support. Well, social media shares certainly go a long way, but so does cash, and you can do that with Patreon at patreon.com/call-to-freedom. Our wonderful patrons there are currently helping to keep the show up and running, like the podcast at calltofreedomlive.podbean.com, and we can't thank them enough for showing their support for our efforts by helping to ensure that those efforts are ongoing. Once more, if you would like to check it out, that's patreon.com/call-to-freedom. And we've been discussing, Joe, I don't remember what in the world we were discussing. I guess it was Joe Biden.
Yeah. Creepy Joe.
Yeah, creepy Uncle Joe. For those curious, there is a website called joebiden.info. That's joebiden.info.
That's him.
It is not produced by Joe Biden.
Oh no, it's satire. But
well, it's not. It's not even satire.
But what?
It's funny, but it's all true. I don't know if the quotes are true. I would hope more often. I would bet that they are, though. So let's go. Let's take a look at some of that. Of course, you can't see it. You definitely should, because the pictures are. They're exactly what you would expect. Uncle Joe is back and ready to take a hands-on approach to America's problems. Joe Biden has a good feel for the American people.
Oh, God.
And knows exactly what they really want deep down.
This is so cringeworthy.
He's happy to open up and reveal himself to voters and will give a pounding to anyone who gets in his way.
Oh, my God.
That was a bit too overt, I think. I think a little bit more subtlety, especially in that last line, would be...
The pounding part, it makes it just a little over the top.
Yeah, because as far as I'm aware, there have been no allegations that he actually sexually assaulted anyone, just that he molested them.
Yeah, he hasn't quite gotten to the whole rape.
Yeah.
Level.
And then there are a bunch of pictures and screenshots from YouTube videos where, yes, Uncle, with little Telegram icons. Look at that. You can send them on Telegram. That's neat. Very cool. Oh, no, it's just a share icon that looks just like Telegram. Oh, they're not just, they are actually videos, though. Or gifs. Oh, my God. That woman is visibly uncomfortable. Like any human being that was not a psychopath would readily identify this person as being extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah, he is either totally unaware of what he's doing or doesn't care. And I can't imagine he could be that unaware.
Look, if you have a problem like that, you can't be unaware of it. Let's look at this other one where he's fondling a little girl, stroking her face in very weird ways. That is so weird.
Oh my, that is really strange.
That's not even creepy. That's
bizarre.
Well, it is creepy. It is creepy. Let's be clear. Caressing the face of a little girl is definitely creepy.
While standing behind her.
And that the dude behind him is just looking at him and smiling. I don't think he knows what's going on. He looks like he's high out of his mind. Moving on, there are other videos, of course, of him getting uncomfortably close to a little girl who cringes. Oh, good Lord, it's not a loop. He kisses her repeatedly, and she cringes and pulls away each and every time.
Oh, my goodness.
Good Lord, man. You have to have noticed at some point that the little girl did not want your lips on her.
Yeah. I can't imagine after all these many repetitions of this kind of response that you would be totally unaware that these people don't want you near them.
He's got to be aware of it. You're absolutely right. In this sixth video, it's the fourth video technically, there is another little girl. And as he looks like he's leaning in for a kiss with the mother, which, got to be honest, that's what it looks like. You can see the little girl pulling away and him almost working to keep her in place with his head uncomfortably close to her breasts.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that is creepy Uncle Joe all the way. Good God. Moving on to more of his quotes. Referring to Obama, Biden said in April of 2012, which is the reason I suspect these are probably real quotes, is because that's the best way to tarnish someone like this. I promise you the president has a big stick.
Okay.
He also seems to be racist. In January 2017, referring to Obama, said, I mean, you got the first mainstream African-American who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice-looking guy.
And the president. Oh, my.
Well, he wasn't the president then.
In 2000, well, had been the president for 8 years.
Not in 2007.
Oh, I thought you said 17.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, no man has the right to lay a hand on a woman, no matter what she's wearing, said Joe Biden in March of 2019.
Wait, he said that last month?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Probably right after these allegations started airing, right? And he was like, no, look, I never had sexual relations with that woman.
Monica Lewinsky.
But, I mean, again, that's joebiden.info. I would highly recommend anybody out there watch it. We don't have it set up at the moment, but we could, in theory, show you these videos of him copping a feel on this little girl, of people clearly pulling away from him, that he's absolutely got to be aware of this and just not care.
Yeah, I can't imagine that he would get that kind of response from somebody and not notice, not...
I mean, there was one occasion once where I randomly went to lick a coworker on the cheek, don't ask, and they pulled away, so I didn't pursue it.
Right.
I fell back and thought, okay, my bad, I wasn't trying to bother you. This is essentially what's happening here, except he continues like Elvira chasing a cat trying to give it a hug. That seems to be Joe Biden. Caressing this little girl's face is also so weird.
Yeah, that's the weirdest one.
I think it could be sent via Telegram, so I'm going to send that. Now, why does it look like the Telegram icon then?
I don't know. Well,
because
Telegram,
it does. It's identical to the Telegram icon.
Does it not have? It has like 5 or 6 different share options there, right?
It does, but none of them were Telegram, and that's the only thing that I have access to at this exact moment. But so Joe Biden, definitely creepy, and wants people to believe that he's totally changed his ways and is not going to be creepy Uncle Joe anymore.
Yeah. I got some nice beachfront property in Arizona for you.
He didn't apologize to the women who have come forward or anyone else who may have been uncomfortable, saying of his physical gestures, "It's the way I've always been." To molest women? And I mean, there's no doubt.
It's the way it's always been.
It's molestation when you touch and caress people against their will. If that's always been your nature, I would suggest that you are probably a psychopath and should probably not be running for president. But Biden, who is 76, has been expected to announce this month that he'll make his 3rd run for the Democratic presidential nomination. He gave no indication of this in the video. He has long been known for hugging and kissing supporters and others who he comes in contact with. Let's replace all of that and be a bit more accurate. No, we are not Republicans. I'm an anarchist, actually.
No, we're not. We're not Republicans. We're not Democrats. We're not either one.
But this is very, very funny to me. So there is so much wrong with this, right? Like, he has not been known for hugging and kissing female supporters. See, I dropped the ball in there. He is not known for hugging and kissing supporters. He's known for hugging and kissing female supporters.
Right.
I guarantee you, we're not going to find any videos of Joe Biden caressing the faces of, I swear to God, I hope we don't find any videos of Joe Biden caressing the face of young boys.
Oh my goodness. Don't even go there.
But why? Is that somehow worse than watching him caress the face of a young girl?
No, it's not. It's not worse. It would be worse because it would be girls and boys. Not that girls are worse than boys or vice versa.
I think it would probably make it a little bit better. In his defense, it would be like, no, see, look, it's not about misogyny. It's not about me being entitled to touch women's bodies or anything like that. It's just how I am with people. I'm weird and touchy-feely in uncomfortably intimate ways. Which I go, okay.
But only with female.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it was true with men as well, it wouldn't be as much of a problem.
Okay.
And I would sort of be a bit relieved, in fact, to see it. Lucy Flores, a former Nevada Assembly member, said Biden smelled her hair and delivered a slow kiss to the top of her head at a 2014 campaign event when she was running for state lieutenant governor. I just can't imagine that there was never a situation where somebody said to him, "You should stop doing that. You should probably stop touching women in that way."
You think he's got the message by now?
No, but I think for political expediency, he is going to pretend to. And this has been the Call to Freedom. Thanks for watching, and don't go anywhere because Free Talk Live is coming up next.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free